Say welcome everyone. My name is Jeff Henwood. I'm the Senior Director of Policy and Advocacy with ABmunis. I'd like to welcome you all to what is becoming an annual tradition, our webinar on building your grant calendar. Before we begin, I'd like to highlight that in addition to webinars, we have teamed up with Alberta Business Grants to bring you the latest information on available grants via a weekly newsletter. You can sign up for the Grant Gazette by visiting abmunis.ca, clicking on Joint Programs, and then Municipal and Not-for-Profit Grants. So once again today, we are joined by David Kincade, founder of Alberta Business Grants Limited. David's background includes now, I think it's 13 years as a successful grant writer.
Getting up
I
there.
don't know, well over $10 million in wins. He's the lead instructor for the Advanced Grant Writing course and author of Golden Grant Rules, the ultimate guide for winning government grants. So with that, I'll turn the floor over to David.
Thank
And
you,
I do see
Jeff.
those files I've uploaded in the chat, so that's perfect.
Yeah, so in our debrief from last year, if you were here last year, we were doing a 2025 grant calendar. Um, there were a couple of people that we had some issues with downloading. So we have two ways to download. We actually have three ways. So the first is in the chat right there. If you click on that, it'll take you to the website where you can download the documents. So can someone give that a try? Can you go to the document, the link there, click on that, and it will allow you to click down the slides and the grant calendar itself. It works. Stacy, thank you very much. Working. Scott. Wow. Don't let anyone tell you you can't improve, people. Okay. All right. Okay. So that's rolling. If you have problems, it's there. Jeff is on hand to put your email in the chat and he will email them to you. Okay. Now, with that done, we are going to talk today about a grant calendar. I've got a presentation. This is a webinar where you're going to be working. This isn't me talking to you the whole time. We're going to give you some skills and we're going to give you actually like 10 minutes to kind of dig in finding grants. Okay. It's a lot of fun and you're going to learn some stuff. So thank you for being here. It means a lot to us. Now, we do have some tracking that we do about kind of representation. So we always launch a poll to say, how many years experience do you have? That helps me understand, am I dealing with people who are brand new at grants? And the other is with ABmunis is kind of representation of the members. So I'm going to launch it and then I will, whoa, they changed their polling process. No, they didn't. Here we go. I'm going to launch this and you'll see it. I'll share the results with everybody, obviously, but it's a just two poll. You should see it right now. Just your municipality type, and the other is just years experience. Thank you so much for. Oh, this poll thing works really well. It's amazing. It comes across. Now let's see how talented this or how intelligent this audience is. But we should play Price is Right. But what percentage of the webinar do you think, just throw in the chat, has over 5 years grant experience? So out of 100%, what percentage, just throw it in the chat. I'll share this with you now. Do you think has over 5 years experience? Oh, okay. Remind me, Jeff, we've got to get like a Amazon gift card or something. Okay, I'm ending it. Share the results. Here it is. Who was the closest? Price is Right style. It was 29%. Who's close? It looked like it might be
A couple of
Nicole.
25s.
We have a tie. And what's really cool here too is we have 28% of you with less than a year of experience in grants and 16% of you. So we've got a mix, but don't worry. This show is for all levels of experience. Okay. So thanks for doing that. Now I'll stop that. You were able to, did you see the results, Jeff, when I did the share the results? You were able to see that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, let's get on with it. You should have the documents. You should have the slides. Let's have some fun. Hang on here. As Jeff said, my name is Dave Kincade, and if this is your first time um, with us, thanks for being here. And if you've come back, that means a lot to us as well. Here we go. Jeff, looks good. Can you see that okay? All right.
Looking good.
Thank you very much. So, we're talking about a grant calendar, and I'm just going to start with that term, especially for you new folks on here. It's nice. By the way, I would get a pen and paper out just to take some notes because obviously grants are going to be something that you're responsible for. And I've been doing this, starting in 20 years ago at the legislature for 4 years as a finance researcher. So I've been doing grants a long time. And if you're new at grants, I'm just going to be coming at you with nothing but hopefully helpful tips. So have a pen and paper. The first is this idea of a grant calendar, right? Grants can be like all over the place, right? It can be kind of like a headache, or like, oh my gosh, I'm overwhelmed. But this idea of a grant calendar is very calming in the sense you can be like, okay, we're going into January next year. They'll open and close throughout the year, and we'll have a grant calendar. And it's like, okay, we'll apply for this grant in this month. This one's due in the fall. We'll be doing that, and that's just going to help you, communicate with your team, right? And council, for frankly. They'd be like, hey, where are we at with the bridge? Well, the bridge grant, it opens in the spring and we'll be putting one in there. So any CAOs out there or people that are helping the CAOs, that should really help you. So my first tip for you is just use that language. I'm doing this a long time, and that's what you want to do. Here's my details. You can find out more about me there, but let's talk about you here more than me. Um, I love this image, everything in life. Sometimes people think grants are dreadful. You may be even nervous about it, submitting one, but it's a skill, and it's a skill you can learn. With this webinar today, we're giving you new skills that you are going to help not only your time in the job you're in right now, but wherever you go in your career. Once people find out you can win grants, every nonprofit and businesses will want your help. So there are these unique tools that you can learn and help your community, which obviously everyone on this call definitely wants to do. So yes, it's uphill, but aren't all things rewarding uphill? And you can learn it, and I'm going to be encouraging you along the way. So this is the journey that we're going to go on today. We're going to do a bit of an introduction. I'm going to give a grant 101. We said we have, almost half of the room is kind of new in this space, relatively new. To the veterans, that'll be a refresher. But hey, the holiday season's close. All right, bear with me, and it'll be great for you too. So just have a little bit of patience. Then we're gonna go through this grant package, which if you've already downloaded, hopefully, hey, throw it in the chat if you're loving the grant package. We put a lot of work in that, getting that ready for you. And it looks like this right here. Like, look at that. All these grants. Isn't that awesome? So I think Jeff will be running all the questions. I see a lot of chat going on there. Jeff, just feel free to reach out to me if there's something that you stop me, but Jeff will run the chat. Then I'm going to give you some skills. So one of the things I want you to do is search grants. It's a skill you need to have, and I'm going to put you to work for 10 minutes doing that. Then we're going to get into this idea of building a calendar. So,
David, if you want for a sec, can everyone see the presentation? I know I can see it, but can everyone else see it, or are there issues there? Just let us know in the chat.
All right, cool. Looking good? Right on. So our objective here is to find your grant. Now, on that piece of paper that you were looking at, that I asked you to write on, winning a grant, 3 steps. Find money, meet the grant agency if you can, write the application in that order. Right? You find, you meet, you write. If you get that order mixed up, problems await, trust me. Okay? Now, most people think, by the way, if you ask them, because we did a poll, Jeff, you might remember this, on asking CAOs about their grant issues, and a lot of it was, hey, we need a list of grants. Well, we're solving that today, but there's more to it, and we're gonna help walk you through that. But specifically today, We're going to focus on this idea of finding money. So you're here as members of ABmunis to increase your grant knowledge and get general advice on grant writing. That's why we do these webinars. Again, a lot of you are new, but I want to, and the veterans on here can probably say something in the comment about this. But the real issue is building trust, right, among community, government, and businesses. That's where you want to be in grants. Oftentimes, when people meet me with grants, they're like, I want a grant, I want a grant. And the first thing I say is, well, do you deserve a grant? What are you doing that is worthy of the taxpayers putting money into a project in your community? And it sounds a bit harsh, but I mean, grants are win or lose, right? So this idea of being trusted, being innovative, it's really, really important in grants. It's important for partnerships. It's important for submitting applications that stand out. Just this idea of being trusted. I'll touch on this throughout the webinar, but this part of that will be things like don't embellish. Like if you've got a project, make a strong case, but you don't need to embellish. Just be factual. Ryan Barber, who was on here at one of our earlier webinars, talked about in the budget. Jeff, you'll remember this, where he said, just leave a comment to me so I can see it. He was the Alberta Municipal Affairs grant manager. You could write to him in the budget. So this idea of trust, being authentic, you're great. It sounds corny, but you're great who you are. Just be yourself, and it'll work. It'll work in grants for you. Again, this is about me. The main thing I want to show you here is I publish a weekly grant gazette about coming deadlines, and if you're an ABmunis member, you get access to Grant Gazette Pro. Jeff has the coupon. I can show you later how to use it, but you get it for free. So make sure you're getting that if you're not already. My company's background is to build trust between business and government, and I'm honored to be here today to build on that. So after this talk, we're going to have a grant calendar. You're going to learn how to search grant recipients and find your grants. And this is the journey that we're going to be going on. Again, I'm going to have you working here in a minute, but I think it's helpful for you to see the short drive we're going to go on here. So we're going to do some Grants 101. We're going to look at this grant package. I'm going to have you searching grants, finding grants, and then giving you some helpful tips. Now, Grants 101. This is, without question, the most important quote in my life, and it's very applicable in grants. And it's the idea you can have everything in your life if you will just help other people get what they want. Remember, we're applying for a grant from the federal and provincial government who have mandates, who are trying to achieve things. So remember, if we can help them achieve what they want, we can help get what we want. All right. And that can come out in writing your grants. What are you counting? Are you counting what they're counting? Does it match? That time the veterans on here would know what I'm getting at. But it's this idea of you come on this webinar, you're like, I want a grant, darn it. And I'm like, whoa, slow down. What do they want? Try to figure out what they want. Look at your project and then make them align. Make them, when you win, they also win. And that's really an important thing in grants. So let's talk about some grant fundamentals. And I know this is a pretty savvy audience. So this is for someone new in their job. But basically, hang in there with me, vets. But you've got taxpayer money. Now, it might be a bit confusing, right? Because they'll sometimes not call them grants. And we can have a long discussion about why all grants aren't called grants, but this is a smart enough audience that you can probably, draw your own conclusions. But at the end of the day, they can be called support, fund, initiative, program. Look at all of the examples on the screen there. And the reason I bring that up is it can be confusing if you're new at grants. So just be mindful of, as you learn, quote unquote, governmentese, which you already have some experience in, obviously. But okay, grants are these things that sometimes aren't called grants, but it's okay. You'll learn it. And you'll start to see these programs, and that'll work. And you'll get names like non-repayable or non-dilutive contribution. You get all kinds of things like this. Free money is what it is. Now, a lot of you will kind of understand how this works, right? So you have the elections. People get elected to, in this case, let's say Edmonton. They get elected. They say, "Hey, we're gonna make life better for rural Alberta or something." And then they get to Edmonton. They look over each other's shoulder and they say, "How are we going to do that?" And quickly they realize, well, one of the tools they have, right, fining, taxes, one of the tools they have to create incentives are grants. So then you've got bureaucrats in there working both, well, provincially or federally, that are going to run these programs and then allocate the grants. But I just want you to know that there's so much money that you need to know about delivery agents, right? So delivery agents will be organizations that, um, you know, Canadian Federation of Municipalities, these organizations that also get dollars that distribute to your organization to win grants. So when you go through that list of grants, you're going to see, oh, provincial, federal, who's this organization giving out money? And it's important for you to get your head around that aspect of it. Here's an example of the Green Municipal Fund. Look at this. GM is a $1.6 billion fund funded by the government of Canada. Another thing you can do is, we're just getting around this idea of government 101, is go on when you look at the list of grants you've got, just to begin to familiarize yourself with who's winning this stuff. And a lot of the information is public. So you can just be, okay, there's an election, there's a department, they have a program. I'll go to the program, and then you'll see, click on list of recipients of projects, and you'll see, I just printed off the one here. I'll show you here. Hang on. Here it is, right. This one right here. This is the 225 ones. So it'll just give you this Bonnieville. You can see this. It's pretty cool, right? There's the cost. There's the amount of money they won. And this is kind of the skill I want you to start learning today. It's like, okay, where is this money going? What are they getting the money for? Really, really important. So that's another thing you can do. Now back here, hang on with me now. Don't go away. Now I want to talk to you about this grant package here that we've got for you. So where is this stuff? So one thing we're going to do is you want to master who's getting this money for a couple of reasons. One is going to be, you can see which departments are giving it out, who's getting it, what they're getting for. So there's two databases I'm going to show you. So stay with me here. There's the federal grant database. So all federal grants are published on a site, and it's a pretty good site to use. And the province has one as well. I'm going to show you both today, and I'm going to give you 10 minutes to work on it, to search yourself. I want you to search yourself. I want you to search a municipality that's kind of similar in size to you and see what they're up to, okay? Here we go. So you're going to go to this open grant. This is the payment disclosure one. I'm going to put this in the chat. We're going to use this foremost as an example. So you're going to go Alberta grant payment disclosure. Watch this load. Here comes to you in the chat. Open that up in the chat. I'm going to show you how to use this. It's a little bit, and then there's this open grant database. We're going to use the Village of Foremost as an example. So what happened? Let's start with the more tricky one. So this is the provincial one. So again, all the provincial grants are here. So you're going to go, see this button right here? Open it. See if I can open it up for you. Right here. Filter starts with, you're going to go like, city of, village of, and you can go filter. There you go. Foremost shows up. And you can see all of the grants. You can just add it all out. The different programs they're getting. So that's the first one I want you to do. I want you to do your city, and then I want you to, if you want to use the provincial, and then look at one kind of similar. So if you're like Lethbridge, look at Grand Prairie and something like that. The other thing I want to show you, so this is the provincial one. Just in the chat, just send me, someone just say, did you open it up? Did you get that? So that's the button right there. Who's winning? Not one person's chatting. Okay, Wendy, thank you. Thank you. Now, the other open grant database is here. So this is the Fed one. So we'll come back to Village Foremost in a minute. But see this tip here? You go search tip, and this shows you how to do it. So you would go water, all caps, and water or air. And then you can use quotes around a term. So there's not much here, so you can get them, but I would just stick with those. So what I'll do is I'll go back to search, and I'm going to go to the village again. So I'm going to go in quotes because I want it all in one word. I'm going to go village of foremost in quotes. So it's search that as a term. Got it? Search. And then you can see, I'm going to give you a little bit of a breakdown how to use this. So we'll come down here. So they won, what they won? 1.8 million bucks back in '09. You can click on this and it will tell you some really cool stuff. It'll say what they got it for. Oh, it's kind of cool, right? The federal writing name. That's kind of interesting. That you can download this database. If you're good with data, this is unbelievable, by the way. And it will show you the program that they got the money from. There it is there. Program, Regional Economic through Innovation. Program purpose. So what I want you to do is take those two right now, and I want you to search your organization. Just open it up, start searching. Use the provincial, the federal, and I'm going to give you I'm going to give you 5 minutes here to just work on that for a minute. Go ahead, get comfortable with it. If you've got any questions in the chat or comments, let me know. I just set the timer for 5 minutes. I'm here in the chat if you need anything. 50 seconds left. 30 seconds. 'All right. Just let me know in the chat um, what you think of that. Did everybody know about that? Both sites? Just yes or no. Like, did you know those sites were there? Wow, it's crazy, eh? All right. And are you happy you know them now? Okay, good. Okay, awesome. Right on, Krista. Thank you. So what I'm trying to do is give you these skills, right? So now you're like, okay. And in grants, I want you to walk, not run. Sometimes there's deadline dates, right? So you're like, oh my gosh, I'm always this pressure. But I'm telling you, walk in grants. You don't need to run. And it's just this idea of you'll get better at grants year after year. And you just want to stop and say, okay, who's getting what? What are they getting it from? There's some big insights in there, right? One of them is, wow, they got that much money for that. You know, oftentimes I had a lady in my class. She's like, I want a $5,000 grant. I'm like, $5,000 grant. And we found in doing that database, another organization won $250,000 grant for the same kind of thing. So again, not saying for you to embellish things, but I am saying, dream big, right? Like dream big. All right, let's keep going. Hop in the car. We're going for a drive here. We got some more work for you. There are some other things here. So that was the Open Grant database. I just wanted to show you that there are other search tools, and I need to leave this open right now. But the Municipal Grant portal has one. Places like AgPal have one, and then my Open Grant database. If you go here on Alberta Business Grants and you go municipalities and you go Alberta and you go click search, there's 303 grants for you. I'll put that in the chat. And that is brought to you by the fine folks at ABmunis. And there they are. And then you can click on, pick a program you want, right? We update this every week. And it'll be like a grant on a page. This is an important skill you get. It'll tell you how much, the description, who's eligible, what's eligible, deadline date, and then their contact information. And you'll also know, stay with me here, stay with me. Over here, the grant package that we're about to go through is the same way. So it's like you come here and it's going to be all grants on a page, right? So it's going to be a name, value, description, who's eligible, what's eligible, deadline date, contact. These are the most important information. Fun fact, I started building this in 2012 because like imagine what it was like back then, right? And and then I just put the whole thing on my website for the public because people kept asking me. And then they've come a long way, but this is the third iteration version of this, and we send current updates. I'll just show you this right now. So if you go over here to Alberta, and so right here, this is the we track grant deadlines. You're going to need to do this. So all of your ABmunis, so you get this. So you go with membership access. Watch this. So you're going to be able to go agriculture, and all the grants are here. And these are all upcoming grant deadlines. And Jeff's got the password or coupon for you. But you go to municipalities, watch this. Kaboom. Look at them all. New, update, urgent grant deadlines. This, folks, I cannot begin to tell you how much work goes into this, getting this done, but it's delivered to you on a silver platter. So if I were you, I would take advantage of that. But like, this is what's sick, right? Like, you can get in here and you can be like, oh, this one's open or this one's opening soon. Like, this one's for can export. If you're doing exports in your community, I know only a few of you are, but it's $500,000, right? Just knowing that it's going to open in January, you can start to get prepared for it. So they're just really helpful tools for you that, again, the fine folks at ABmunis, I don't mean to plug you this much, but brought this to you and take advantage of it. Um, Now let's keep going. Stay in the car. Come on now. I got some more work for you to do. There's your Gazette for tracking grant deadlines, and you can also follow AB Muni's newsletter if you're not already getting it. Sign up for that as well. And the Grant Gazette, you can sign up on my website as well. Just there's lots of places to sign up for it. Jeff, maybe you want to put the AB Muni's link there if anyone's a lot of people are new, so maybe they don't have it. Now, a couple pro tips. You just got a long list of grants. I would encourage you grab the low hanging fruit, right? Get the things that are really, really great fits for you. For those of you that are new, I strongly encourage you to get one grant at a time. And keep in mind, you can win some grants year after year, right? So remember that idea I said, building trust at the beginning of this webinar? It's like, do a good job, win, fill out your reporting on time, win again. And, you want to be someone that delights the grant agency, right? You already know that, but it's just a good reminder. Now, I want you to kind of master this document here, this grant calendar. So what I want you to do is open it up right now, that Word doc, and I want to show you how I do this, okay? And then I want you to just spend some time opening it up, getting familiar with it. So what I do is I name them high, medium, and low. I sort them by deadline date, and I'll make notes at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to show you first how I do this. So I'll come to the top of the document. You've got this open, right? And I'll just start with, let's pick a different one. Let's pick tourism or economic or municipal. Let me just see here. They're all, I think tourism's with economic. Here we'll do safety. Just this one. I'll come here. I'll see, oh, municipalities eligible. I'll be like, oh my gosh, that's really important to us. So in here, I'll go high. Now, some of you are laughing right now because you're like, Dave, I'm going to use Excel. And that's totally fine. But I just like seeing the grant on a page like this. I'll go high. And then sometimes I'll make a note to myself down here. I'll just go note, like, we need this. I won't yell at myself. We need this in 2026. Or, we won it before, we won it before, something like that. And then I'll go back to the top. For me, I'm on a Mac, so I'll go Control Home. It takes me to the top. And then watch this. If you click right here and I go Update Table, entire table. Did you see that? I'll do that again. I clicked in here right by the S. I click that little down button. I go Update Table. And then I'll pick the entire table. Watch what happens here. And then I come down here. I shouldn't have picked one so far away. Sorry about that. Where did you go? It's down. Why did I do that? Note to self. Where did you go? Here we go. There. See how it says hi? It shows up. It's much nicer when you do it up front. So it'll just show up there. And for me, I just find it very helpful. Like I'll go to the top of this document and I'll be able to open up agriculture. Sorry to make you dizzy here, guys. I'll slow down. But you'll just be like, hi, hi. So this one, I'll just go hi. I'll say it's a medium. I'll go back up here. I'll update it. You have a lot of grants, folks. Update the table. And then there you go, medium. So it just starts to look like that. So I'll have high, medium, and then I'll just spend some time cutting and pasting. And if you're not great at Word or whatever, find someone on your team who is. And then you'll quickly begin to realize, oh, I have like 15 grants here that are a high fit, super high fit. And then what I'll do is I'll look at the deadline date. Now, this is where you might move to Excel, right? Well, you decide what you're going to do. But applications started. Oh, that one's a deadline date. It's got to be moved up. So you'll pick the latest deadline date on it. Resiliency and trust program, whatever program it is, they'll open and close constantly. Sometimes they'll switch. Not all of them will do that. But if I were you, I would just get really comfortable with knowing those grants, putting in the updated deadline, and this will just save you so much time. You'll be like, okay, here's our 8 grants or 10 grants. They're high fits. I'm sorting them by deadline date, and then you're good to go. And I would just keep this as a draft document. Like just make this your own and keep updating it. Just update it year after year after year. Does that make sense? All right, I'm going to keep going. That is for you to work on. I wanted you to go into the Open Grant database, but spend some time building that. I think you'll be in great shape. Typically, I give you a few minutes. Just spend a couple of minutes. Just chat with me in the chat here? Are people opening that up? Do you understand what I'm doing? I'm looking at the chat history right now. Jillian, okay, cool. You got it. Again, you're gonna kind of figure out what works for you, and there's like hundreds of them, right? So they're just getting them narrowed down will be good. All right, let's get going so we can keep you on time here. I want to leave you with a couple more nuggets. So typically what I would do is I would do the working session on this one like we did last year, but I'm going to leave that with you. I wanted you to spend more time figuring out, hey, where's this money going? Now you can take grants from that, look over at this and say, okay, you just keep building it. So you got to spend some time on it, but it's totally, totally doable. A couple of things you need to know. Some grants open and close all the time. Don't be discouraged if the current grant is closed right now. Often that's a time to build trust with them. So the grant they open and close. So for those of you that are new grants, don't be discouraged. Like it's closed, it usually opens up again. In most cases, you can narrow the list down and then take it to your team. So I would not turn around and take this list and say, oh, I've got 200 grants here. Let's have a coffee and talk about it. I would figure out the projects that are going on that you want to do. I would narrow that list down. Then I would take the narrowed list to the team. There are some grants that are in your space. We include them because sometimes it could be a partnership, right? So you might say, I'm not eligible for this, but maybe you're an eligible partner on that grant. So that's why I encourage you to think creatively. But the ultimate goal here is this last bullet, which is you're trying to match a project with your grant, right? So you've got this project. We're doing these 3 capital projects next year. We're building a playground. We're, doing something. The economic team or tourism has done something. Here are the grants. Here's the timeline of when the grants are going to open or close. If it's not clear, call them, get a relationship with them, and go forward. Anyways, that step was going to reduce a lot of stress in your life. Now, I do want to end some tips and have some time for some questions here. So this idea of narrowing down your list, right? You're going to narrow it down. So you're going to take this. I'm just going to spend some time showing you what I would do if I were you. I would take this. I would narrow this thing from 200 down to whatever. I may have a base version of it. Take it down to like 25 grants. Maybe like I would take my high ones and I would have a place for my high grants. But again, you think for yourself on this. I'd sort them by deadline, make the notes, and keep it a living document. This is how you get to your grant calendar. This idea of a grant calendar, that's what it is. It's this balancing of these are our projects, these are our grants. And as new team members are sending you grants, if you have a regular meeting scheduled in your calendar, it's good, right? The grants come, you say, hey, I take any new grants you hear of, please send them to me. I recommend you have a meeting scheduled every 2 weeks. You can update the calendar at that point. Have a quick look at it just to make sure it's not like deadline due on Friday. But if it's due later, you can bring it back to this meeting and update it. It's going to help you be proactive. What you don't want to be, especially for, well, all the veterans can totally relate to this, is you want to be proactive in grants. You don't want to be, this is a question you don't want in grants. Where are we at? Where are we at in grants? If you get that, it's dreadful. You do not want it, okay? So this idea of, hey, we've got grants here. What projects are you? Can you get back to me? You want to be on the offensive. It's going to allow you to manage expectations, except especially with council, right? Because they're going to be throwing you grants, being like, "Hey, I heard this one, so and so won this grant." So by being proactive, it can help you manage expectations. You might be saying, "Hey, these are the grants that you've agreed we're spending money on. We've got grants for this. You know, we don't have matching funds for that project to build that building over there." Start small, or focusing on one grants and then just building on that. You'll find if you go through that database, you can begin to see which businesses or municipalities get dialed in at this. Like as you kind of build the base, you'll see, wow, they really take off. Like shout out to I won't call out any municipalities, but there are some mid-sized municipalities who are unbelievable at this. All right. Um, and be patient with yourself and enjoy the process. Like it's a lot of moving parts. It's hard to be perfect all the time in this, right? So just be patient with yourself. It can be really fun as you get better and better at them, um, and you can make a really big difference. So just just don't be too hard on yourself. You came here today. You took a big step forward. You're building that out. It's great. And it does become really fun. All right. A couple realities, and then I'll take some questions. One is grants have cousins. So when you meet a grant and you talk to them, oftentimes it might not be a perfect fit, but there will be another grant that is a great fit for you. And you want to apply for grants that are a great fit for you. You do not want to apply for grants that are not a great fit for you. I'll say that again. You don't want to apply for grants that aren't a great fit, but you want grants, it's a perfect fit, apply. Some grants can be stacked, right? So you can put two of them on top of each other up to a full dollar, right? One for 25 cents, maybe one for 50 cents. And websites can be out of date. So you'll notice dates sometimes on websites are out. Don't believe the website at face value. You'll find, you know, just don't believe them. You got to read their guidelines and call them or email them for clarification. Your list is going to constantly change, so keep it updated. Have that regular meeting and speak with the language of grant calendar. Keep using that idea. Oh, I've got a grant calendar. This is where we're going. They'll love it. People will love it. And it'll keep sanity in your life as well. A couple other things that you just need to know about grants, okay? These grant delivery agents and bureaucrats, if most of you probably know what I mean on this call, but if you get into something like delivery agents are Eco Canada, Tech Nation, Career Launcher. I could, Rupert's Land, um, Canadian Federation of Municipalities, on and on and on. There's a lot of these organizations that give out capital. It's important for you to know the difference. Just know who's who in the zoo. Don't be confused. You're like, who are these people? They've usually won a grant to give out a grant. So know that. Read the grant guidelines in detail. That's obvious. But for you new people, this is not like IKEA furniture where you might be able to assemble it without reading the guidelines. Definitely read the guidelines. There can be something in there on page 6 that like gives you the project assessment, or it explains the matching dollars. Competitions will open, so having a master grant application or the old versions of things or your financial statements in one area is really, really helpful. Because if something opens up and you've got to put it in quick, you want access to things. And if finance is on holiday for 2 weeks and you don't know where a document is, it can be really painful. So try to build a room, what I call, like, tech companies call it a data room. I call it just, your grant folder where corporate information lives. and decide, is it worth it? When you read that grant, just have a go no milestone. You've looked at it and you're like, okay, is it worth it? Then go. A few more best practices here. Most grants will fund projects, so you really want to, if you don't have it, you want the skill of writing good project descriptions. Project management is, I always say grants are, you don't think you're a project manager, but where most grants fund project, it's definitely a skill. Planning is going to minimizing your surprise. And the say-do ratio is, if you say you're going to do it in grants. You want a high rate of that. Your percentage is high because there's deadline dates. And you don't want to go silent. You want to like over communicate in grants because you're going up against a tight deadline. I'm going to leave you with something that I think is super cool. So this year, I showed this to the group last time. It's a couple years old now. They're not updating it, but look at this. This here. So this is a table. Open this up. And if you come, I don't know why, maybe they just don't have the latest one published, but I think this is so cool. So this is a 2020, probably it's just not out yet, funding summary report. You will find so much gold in a document, types of funding, capital funding, planning, and it'll tell you like government-wide objectives. We don't have time. This is almost worth doing a webinar on itself. But you can go in here, and again, I'm finding grants. Look at this. It shows you how much money's in there. Provincial, operating, capital. Just beautiful. And it also talks to you about their government-wide objectives. Look at this, government-wide objectives. Like if I'm sitting in your chair and I'm writing grants for a municipality, like this is the kind of stuff that is just gold. So be sure, there it is in the chat. I would add that into your library of tips. And anything you can find like that, like government studies are really helpful. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up because I do want to take some questions. Be clear on your project. It's either a heck yeah or it's a no on your grants. You want them to be clear. Give yourself 6 weeks to kind of usually get these. Like doing these at the last minute is really stressful. So give yourself time to get testimonials, quotes. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a wrap. I know I throw away a lot, but it's a quick learning session. And remember that thing at the beginning of class, that image I showed you? That is like, it's all uphill and you're busy. But I would just encourage yourself to go, you know what? I don't have time. You made time today to, I will find a way to get this done. From I don't have time to I'll find a way to get this done. We've got another one coming up webinar coming up in February. Be sure to sign up for the Gazette if you want in the chat or email me. I'll put my chat in there. You can get it on my website at Alberta Business Grants. And some people take my course if you're interested in that. The next one's in January. So that's a wrap, folks. I know we threw a lot at you, but feel free to throw a question in the chat if you have any.
I don't see anything in the Q&A box right now, David, but there is
Okay.
one in the chat, which is our organization is a nonprofit, not charity. What's your advice for us on getting grants to sustain our work? Most times they give grants to charity.
Well, in my space, the government grant space, there's rarely a difference between a charity, and a not-for-profit. Like you look at eligible applicants, and they used to say charities and nonprofits. Now I hear, and I don't do grants in foundations. Foundations I hear is different. Oftentimes I have charity numbers, so you'll have to look at that. But look at eligible applicants; it'll be crystal clear whether it's a difference. But you'll see it usually says nonprofit in charity.
All right, thanks, David. Next one is how much of someone's grant writing can be done by using ChatGPT or other AI tools?
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? We had Leroy Bannock in, and he's an AI guy to talk to my advanced grant writing class on this very subject. And, you know, he talked about writing prompts. He would spend half a day writing a prompt before bringing it over into ChatGPT. And what we mean by a prompt would be you would write in your Word document, right? Like, hey, uh, we're this municipality. We're looking to urbanize a street, clean up a street. Here's what you need to know about the street. It's this long. And you would just feed it all this data and statistics. and then he would go from there to a summary. So it was pretty fascinating um, to work with AI, but really like it didn't like kind of save much time, to be honest, because so much work went into the prompt. So it's Leroy Bannock. He's got a hopefully a course coming out in January. I've encouraged him to get it done. You want to watch that? I'll be promoting it on our page. But the other thing you want to be careful of, obviously, is authenticity, right? You know, you don't like this is such a tough question because it's so evolving. But my answer to it is focus on the prompt if you're going to use AI, which we all are, obviously, to make sure that it's serving you, not you becoming the reliant on it, if you will. Good question, though.
Thanks, David. I don't see anything else in the Q&A box right now.
I guess just a couple of comments, especially for the new folks, and thank you for you veterans who hung on here. Um, take your time getting this, like working on the part that we don't talk about in this class is actually projects, right? So there's money and there's projects, and that is a work in progress. So take your time finding the grants, going to your team and saying, hey, what are we doing? Are we doing the playground this year? Is the economic tourism team, what are they doing? And really spend time going back and forth working on that balance. And listen, you'll be well ahead to do well in 2026. I got no doubt.
Okay, a couple of questions popped in. First one, you might need a bit of a crystal ball here, but with the budget being in deficit and the landscape changing, from your experience, do you anticipate a decrease in grant opportunities or amount of funding and higher competition?
It's interesting, right? Like look at the federal budget. There's it's interesting to watch the priorities go over to um, different areas is typically um, I've kind of been in this space for so long. It just seems like grants are a tool also they need. Like you cannot get away from not having grants. They're like a tool they use. So as I said at the beginning of class, really relying on helping them solve a problem is what I would be doing more so than worried about the grant getting cut a bit.
Right, next one is similar to the first question. Do consultancies and/or for-profits get a number of these grants, and what do you say about their chances?
Oh yeah, but that was shocked me when I started. I was in the library at the legislature when I was a young guy, and I remember I was like, "Wow, for-profit companies could win grants." Absolutely. Like think about all the tech companies that grant grants, the defense companies that are going to start getting grants. Um, I think one of the things you could do as a municipality is, especially your economic departments, is have a kind of a list or share the resource we have on the open database of grants they can get for like everything from summer students to training grants, right? That's the most common for businesses. And then they go up from there. Export grants, um, tech, agriculture, environment, export, stuff like that.
Perfect. Someone's asking where you can find a recording of this presentation. It will be on our website under past events. Just click on the event name and there will be a recording up in a couple of days. Um, and maybe look at the time here, David. A final question is, can we work directly with you to apply grants?
I do training, right? So I teach people how to write their own grants. So if you're interested in that, I do an advanced grant writing course. There's one coming up in January 21st. You can sign up on my website, Alberta Business Grants. You'll see the course. Feel free to reach out. And for those of you who can't take the course, there's a lot of free resources on my YouTube channel, blog. The Grant Gazette's free. The grant search database is free as well for you. So I think that is, and it'll be on my YouTube channel as well. You're welcome, Andy.
Thank you, David. Any closing remarks before
Uh,
we wrap things
One
up?
is there's going to be a survey. We're always trying to make these better and helpful for you. And when you're giving feedback, these working sessions I give you, do you like those? So when you fill out the survey, there's a little comment section. Say, Dave, yeah, like I don't mind sitting here quietly giving you 10 minutes to work, but there's like 100 of you. So can you just let me know if you like those working sessions where you do, Erica? Are you saying you loved it for that? Yeah, okay. So I'm gonna do that. Just let you work. Again, it's that whole walking thing. The urgency is me to like yap, but I think sometimes I zip it. It's better. Right? Um, I would just say just congratulations on taking this. Just keep working. I'm glad to help you. Please fill out our survey. You know where to find me at albertabusinessgrants.ca. It's a pleasure to serve you today, and we will see you in February. Happy holidays, everybody.
A great afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Bye. See ya.